Hello guys, in my last video we saw a cemetery currency farming strategy with a low investment. So today we're going to follow a similar path with a currency farming strategy on the same map, the cemetery map, but with a high investment. We are then going to compare both of them and we are going to see the effects of a high initial investment and how that impacts our profits. We're going to start seeing the setup that I did for my test run of 40 maps. Then we're going to see the cost for all the materials involved in the strategy. And then we're going to analyze the loot and we're going to price it in POE stack as usual. Then we're going to compare both of the strategies, the low investment one with the high investment one. We're going to set the pros and cons from one or each other and which one suits you better. And finally, we are going to see the profit calculations and some closing words. About the setup, I started with the divination farming core. That's basically the enraged sextants with all of the sources to the strong boxes. That is ambush. I then added some legions, and since legions has a lot of rares, I added a reliquary scarab. Remember that in Path of Exile, the monster rarity is multiplied by your map rarity, and then it's multiplied also by your player rarity. So since rare mobs have a higher innate rarity, this is pretty damn good for finding unique items in your maps. For the sextants, there isn't much room left. We are using the enraged one, the ambush to add more boxes, the daily mirror, and finally I added, since we are following with the legion mechanic, I added the sextant for an extra monolith for the legions. Then the red influence as usual, and ambush in the map device using the 7th gates. And finally, to mention that all of these scarabs are gilded, and this is what basically makes the strategy pretty expensive alongside the enraged sextant. This is the Atlas tree. I will leave a POE planner link in the description, so take a look at it. But here's a screen about it. It has all the mechanics that I already mentioned: the 7th gates, the boxes, the legions, and that kind of stuff. You can take a look at the link I have below in the description. About the costs, here is the full list of the prices I paid for 40 maps, and it was almost 22 divines in total. I will leave here some captures in the screen with some of the trades that I did for getting all of this stuff. Remember that this is in bulk, so if you're trying to price or get these items one by one, it will be cheaper, but I don't recommend it. Just spend some extra and save some time so you can run these maps as early as possible. And as you can see, this is close to 3 more times the investment compared to the last strategy that we spent about 8-ish divines. So now it's almost 44. So yeah, as you can see, the investment is quite higher compared to the other one. So this is all the stuff that we got from these 40 maps. And as you can see, as expected, we got much more loot compared to the lesser investment one. We have now 2 full quad tabs and half of a small one. Meanwhile, in the other strategy, we fill a full quad and the half of an hour. So for a notable drops, I will start for the brothers. As you can, no, sorry, brothers, let's say brothers gift. As you can see, I have 4 here. I got none in the first. This is quite a high variance, and yeah, I got in total 4 of these brothers gift. Then for the raw divines, I got 7 divines here and 3 divines here. So a lot of them were raw, and some others were from I think I got 2 from ritual. So yeah, that have that in mind, because we are actually using investing into some ritual, and trust me that sometimes you do get some divines. I got it here, and I got it in the last 40 maps for the strategy too. So yeah. Then for the notable uniques that I got, since we're using a reliquary, we are getting more uniques as usual. So the best one is the Unnatural Instinct. Here, this is around 5 divines. Then I got on Aurora here. This is around 100k, I think. Then for the stuff that I still have to sell, I have an high risk ire here. I got a bunch of common spirits that they sell usually for 30 chaos. And then I got here a blood notch. This based on the roll, this is 80 chaos. So as you can see, there are a lot of uniques that they together start summing up and giving and pumping out chaos into strategy. I got a lot of this amulet that they did sell for, I don't know, 20 chaos. This is 5 chaos, but with a better roll it turns out to be a little bit more expensive. Then we have the experience ring. I did sell like 2 or 3 of them. This is 20 chaos, for example. Now pricing all of that in POE stacks, we have a total value of 83 divines considering all of the items, and I'm already calling the lower end stuff for that's not, or let's say everything that's above the 2 chaos. So as you can see, the number one thing that adds into the 83 divines is the brother's gift. Obviously we got, as we saw, 4 of them, then a lot of divines, one of the voidborn keys, a lot of unions, and that I had to change the price since they were priced as 4 chaos. Now it's 3, okay, but it should be 2. I did the calculation based on the gem scatter, and if we sell the gem scatters in bulk, that's about to, I won't be selling them, I will be selling the gem scatter. Then the natural instinct that we already saw, these 5 divines. Then we have the maps. We drop a lot of them, and these ones I do sell them in bulk in TFT. Then a lot of the chaos. One disclaimer here is that not all of them are raw chaos, but I did sell in between. I was running these maps, and they were added together here. And also the map device is also subtracted from this chaos, so we won't be taking them into consideration when we add the investment. Okay, so then some stacked decks, a lot of different currency, the invitations, and yeah, if we want to take a look, we got all our stuff, some fraction shards from the harbingers, and yeah, a lot of scarabs that we do sell in bulk. And we have here all the categories. You can see the first one is the currency, and then we have the cards, thanks to the brother's gift, the scarabs, the fragments, uniques, all of this stuff that are in here that we can sell easily. Okay, so for the final profit calculations, we got a revenue of 83 divines. We did invest around 22 divines in total, and we got 4 brother's gift and 247 unions. And since we know that we should expect one of each brothers each after 87 unions, then we can adjust the results based on this data, so we don't have anomalies in our POE test maps. So yeah, it's right here, and since this is the equivalence, this is 87 actually. Then since we got 4 birds gift, and we should have gotten, based on the amount of unions, 2.77, we have to subtract for our profits, or let's say for our revenue, the around 6.12 divines. Then we have an extra half divine for the invitations, since we did in total 40 maps, and each invitation you get in 20 maps. Then I have some stuff that still did not sell. I have accounts glove, a higher knife for 2 divines, a good roll ventors. This is an extra 4 divines, and this is fair basically because you're using our reliquary, and we are getting a bunch of uniques. So you are going to drop in these maps that are plenty of mobs a lot of unique items. A lot of them are going to be bad, but eventually you are going to run into these good uniques. So the actual revenue, it goes down to 81.5 divines instead of the initial 83 that we saw in POE stacks. So the profits ends up in 59 divines. That's almost 60 divines in total in profits. Obviously this is not pure currency, you have to liquidate a lot of stuff. Yeah, then we have that each map took me around 8 minutes for using my build, so consider that there are other builds that aren't as fast as a ranger, and obviously there are others that are even faster if you're not using MF, for example. So you have that the profit per hour in this time is over 11 divines. Yeah, this is pretty damn good. This is a pretty good number. And we have also that I did some extra calculations. If you do these maps in 9 minutes instead of 8, you will be doing close to 10 divines per hour. That's still bonkers. Okay, so for a final comparison between the high investment and the low investment, we're going to start saying that there is a total upfront investment for 40 maps that's completely different between one and the other. This is the main factor, in my opinion. And this is key because if you don't have enough initial currency to invest into a good set of maps, you're going to, for example, if you have enough currency for 5 maps for the high investment one, you have to run these maps, and then you're going to, if you don't get any brothers, you won't have currency to keep going. So you have to start liquidating stuff from 5 maps, and that's going to be terrible. You always want to have a good initial set of maps and then liquidate everything that's on the currency in bulk, so you just do it once and you don't have to handle all the hassle. Then in the other hand, since we are investing more, we are actually getting more profits back. So this is a comparison with my last video that we had, that the low investment one was between 6 and 7 divines versus the 10 or 11 that we got in the current strategy. So this is pretty damn good. This is straight up an upgrade. And then some other points I have for the high investment, that the boxes, the strong boxes, don't actually add any extra difficulty. You just click them, you kill some of the mobs that spawn there, and you go to the next one. It's not like, for example, a beast that have to backtrack the worm, and then kill mobs for a lot of time, and that adds a different pace in your map. Or for example, like harvest, when you have to get into a different instance and then click the crops twice and waiting for the mobs to spawn. That's not something that happens with the boxes. We just click them and you kill the mobs and you get the loot. That's quite simple. And another thing is that since we have the enraged sextant, the brothers drop more frequently, and this is pretty good to our gameplay, or let's say quality of life of mapping, because the dry strikes are going to be naturally smaller. Since we have a better chance, the variance will be lower compared to the low investment. So that will help us, our mental sanity of not dropping brothers for who knows how many maps. This will reduce the threshold. So yeah, that's another good factor that I have to put in here. So in the end, I think that the main factor is to in between choosing one or the other, it will depend that if you have those initial 22 divines, or let's say if you want to start with 30 maps, over 15 divines to invest into this strategy. And also I have to mention that some MF does help with the quant multipliers that we get from the enraged sextant. I would say that even if you don't have MF, you're still going to make a lot of currency. Maybe it's not 11, maybe it will be 10, 9, but magic find stats do help here in both strategies, but I think that it's more influential in the high investment one. So for final conclusion, this strat has very respectable results, as we already saw. And now imagine spamming this strategy for 15 hours, for example. You could already buy Headhunter yourself just with the profits from these maps. That's about 130 maps. So yeah, the numbers are pretty damn good. And another aspect from a strategy is that you get a lot of raw currency thanks to the Bride's Gift, and many uniques that are available. Some of them are 30 chaos, some of them are 50 chaos, and some of them are 1 or 2 divines, even 5, as we saw with the natural instinct that I dropped. And these uniques are kind of some semi-raw currency because you can sell whenever you want, and you get the chaos and the divines directly. And this is comparing to, for example, the scarabs that you have to have a bunch of them and then sell all at once. Yeah, so that's it for today. I hope you liked, and be sure to subscribe for more POE content. And guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.